This show is part of the Head Stuff Podcast Network.
All right. How are you getting on? You good? You grand? You wheel? Are you a wheel? Well, legally you have to tell me if you are. How you doing? I'm fucking good. I'm in great form. I'm in flying form. Had a wonderful weekend there. Finally got to painting the back wall there. And Terry was like, why are you taking your trousers off? And I mean, short answer is I thought if she looked out the window and saw me painting the back wall in like a vest and my panties on and my boxers on, that she might be turned on by that, you know. And then I kind of had it. Just don't want to get the paint on my trousers, and couldn't be arsed. Do you know what? It was a beautiful Venn diagram of couldn't be arsed. I'm lazy, but also the overlapping thing being could be sexy. Very few things will ever fall within that beautiful Venn diagram slice of couldn't be arsed. I suppose bed hair might fit into that, you know. Couldn't be arsed / sexy. It's very limited. There's a very limited amount of those things. So I kind of thought I'd get away with, you know, the excuse is couldn't be arsed throwing trousers on. Really, it was like, wouldn't mind Terry checking out my little tush when she looks out the window. And it worked, you know. She was spraying me with water, telling me I was asking for it with that tush on show. So, you know, it's kind of, you know, I'm like, would you stop? Terry, would you stop? I'm like, here, like I'm getting fumes off the white spirits here. And, it's a very finicky job here holding this paint. But I knew exactly what I was doing. Diet Coke break, says you, I says, in my mind, pretending to be annoyed. Diet Coke break. I don't want you to be no slave. 11:30. Remember that ad? Do you know what? Anyone ever says men objectify women, I showed them the fucking Diet Coke ad. 11:30. 11:30. Sorry, I went full fucking Dundalk there for a second. Anyway, look, are you good? Are you well? Had a mad weekend there. Very busy gigs. Was down in Limerick, then down in Cork. Saw everything that Munster had to offer. Had a wonderful time. And kind of drove back from Cork, so I was fairly tired. And came back straight into the old beautiful long weekend with the kids, which is great until like about lunchtime on Monday. And then you're kind of like, hey, when's late checkout again? Oh, that's okay. The Clayton hotels, because I've already checked out. I've actually already checked out. I was just calling you just to check. When is late checkout? Because I'm already fucking gone. I'm already on the road. And I'm not talking about actually checking out of a hotel. That might sound like that's what I'm talking about. I mean, as a partner, as a lover, as a husband, as a father, completely checked out. Bank holidays are, they're tough. They're tough because you're still fighting the urge. I mean, some people are like, here, we're going out on fucking Monday. Here, come on, that's a big thing. Sometimes more than the Sunday, being like, come on, we go to the fucking pub on Monday. Really shake things up. Really fuck up this 4-day week. Meet you in the pub on a Monday. So I was pretty tired. And as well, we had, and he's great, but Sonny's little cousin was staying in the bed with him. And then I got in the middle of the bed with them, because my bed's been inhabited by, honestly, the cutest cockblock you've ever met in your whole life. The sort of cockblock that when she stares at you, she sees your soul and she forgives you. You know, it's like, she's got the wisdom of the Pieta, don't even know what I'm talking about. Anyway, my daughter's eyes are amazing, but you should fucking cock block and a half. She's a sort of cock block that you kind of have to, you have to just kind of dress in little shorts when you're in the back garden, because nighttime isn't really, not always on the, you just have to plan for it, not always on the cards. So because of that, I was in between the two boys, and it was like something out of like a Clive Barker fucking hellscape in the best, great kids, but kids kick. People look at dogs when they're sleeping, and they're like, oh, he must be having a dream because he's kicking the fucking shit out of the air. Kids do the exact same thing. So I was kind of wedged. What's supposed to be a double bed for the young fella, it's two single beds, with a mattress protector over and a sheet. But when you're the third person in, a twin bed pushed together, that shit's gonna fucking slide down the middle. I feel like there's, I don't know, American professors that would look to me falling down the valley between these two single beds as kind of like proof of gravity. Do you know what I mean? Like, they extend like a rubber sheet across a hula hoop and then put a bowling ball in the middle, and then they start rolling kind of like small marbles around. And as you can see here, the pull of gravity is like this bowling ball in the middle. This is like your sun, and these are the little planets revolving. Anyway, I was there fucking pressed down the middle, essentially lying on the floor. And this is after driving fucking loads the last couple of weeks. My back is in bits. My clutch leg is, don't mind a clutch. I need a bloody crutch after all the clutching that I've been doing. And that above my left arse cheek is absolutely in ribbons. And that's exactly what was pressed on the hard floor in between these two. And then as well as that, they're like, it was like two fucking like scorpion tails. 4 scorpion tails just constantly poking and prodding all night while me wedged in the middle. So it wasn't a great night's sleep, I have to say. So, then, that was a Sunday night. But mad weekend as well. Then Terry was out, as she's due, I was away 2 nights. She had to put the kids down. So she was out then on Saturday. I put the kids down. And I've been watching this Kiwi lad on Instagram. He might be on TikTok as well. But basically, he bets 10 cents for every follower, I think it is. Yeah, for every follower. Yeah, every follower that he gets, he bets 10 cents on blackjack. Now he's over 1 million followers, so he's betting like $116,000 on a single hand of blackjack, and he does this every day. Now he's so far in the red, in the black, in the green. I don't even know. Anyway, he's up about $1 million. Today he lost like $250,000. One hand of blackjack. Anyway, I've always been a huge fan of blackjack. In that one time I went to Las Vegas for 40 hours from London as a sales incentive. Saw David Guetta twice in 24 hours. And when you're jet lagged and you're at a pool party, I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm dumb. Maybe it just makes me so fucking dumb and dehydrated that I get David Guetta. The only other time I got David Guetta was when me and Terry thought we were getting like a leisurely kind of yacht trip that was very cheap to like the Blue Lagoon in Malta. And it turned out to be a speedboat that would only sit like 4 people. And your man fucking blitzed across the sea, blaring Titanium by David Guetta. And I'm like, oh, I kind of get this. It's just kind of like, it's just kind of dumb fun. So similarly, being in a pool, waiting for you know, it's so dumb. I had a great time. Swilling around my fucking, likely full of piss because I was in a pool, metal $40 bottle of fucking Coors Light or whatever I was fucking waving around. Bud Light, probably. So I've been to Vegas. I went and I remember sitting at the blackjack table because all the other people in my sales team had gone to bed, as they should have, because it was essentially like 11 a.m., Greenwich Mean Time, and then whatever it was, 4 in the morning, Vegas time. So I was like, I'm not sleeping, man. I know I've been up for now 30 hours, but now fuck this. How long am I going to be in Vegas for? So I went down to the blackjack table, and I'm like, I think I can understand blackjack. I remember playing it with my dad. I just have to get to 21, or as close to. Just don't go over 21. That's what I knew. So I was sitting there, and the Native American guy sat beside me, and I'm there fucking like so wrecked and fairly steamed because they just keep giving you more and more pints, chaining fucking cigarettes because they, you can smoke indoors and they're just blowing oxygen on you the whole time. And I get chatting to him, did the old fucking traditional Irish thing of being like, man, we're the same, man. The Irish and the Native American, we're the same, man. Coming up with some new fucking handshake with a complete stranger. And he just said, if they have something low, hold at 16. And I was like, okay, if you get to 16, just hold if they have something low. And whatever bit of sage advice that gave me, with my $50 in, I was up like $500 before I knew what was going on. And only because I was going to piss myself, I left the table. I probably would have stayed, but I was going to piss myself. And almost, hey, who we can kind of did a little bit piss myself. Luckily, I made it to the toilet, but, there was a little spotting in my shorts. I'm sorry to be over familiar here, but I'm very tired and it's very late at night when I'm recording this. But there was some gentle piss spotting happening, and so I kind of left the table with some winnings. So then I spent $80 getting an Uber to the only open In-N-Out burger because I'd heard it was good, and everyone talks about In-N-Out burger. Went all the way across. It was pretty spectacular. I'm there in my own car going down the fucking Vegas Strip to a fucking In-N-Out burger that were closing like minutes away. So I got the dregs, double, whatever, animal style fries. It wasn't great. Wasn't mad on it, to be honest. Thought it was a little overrated. Now, was it the best litmus test to be testing In-N-Out burger? Probably not. Definitely not. So then after about like an hour and a half on the blackjack table, I, had accrued quite a bit of money, and I was like, I wouldn't mind just having another hit there. So I lost about $150 then at a blackjack table on the way back, and even just small hands. Wasn't betting a lot. Small hands. You could call me Donald Trump because it was only small hands. Anyway, it got to a point then when I was losing so much money, and like consistently losing on the way back, and I was like, what's going on? This is weird. I'm doing exactly everything that the Native American told me to do. And the woman was like, what Native American? There's been that Native American's been dead for 60 years. No, and then eventually I was losing so much money, about $150. So now I'd about $420 left. Hey, pardon. So I'm down to $270 then, after the Uber and the In-N-Out, and then the loss, about $270, and the very nice dealer at the table was like, sweetie, stop. Sweetie, you need to stop. I was like, okay, good night. Went back to bed for like an hour. Everyone else was up. I'm like, here we go. Let's go see David Guetta again. Anyway, so I've always had a bit of a soft spot for blackjack, and so when I was seeing this Kiwi playing, so I was looking up my phone, like blackjack apps, right? And I saw one, and it said real money. I'm like, oh, that'll be fun. That'll be a bit of crack. Because all these kind of betting apps, I never messed with any kind of betting apps. Mostly because I was looking for a mortgage for so long that I was like, oh man, if they see a betting app on your phone, man, they'll call the fucking police, man. No, you can't get a mortgage with a betting app, man. And you can't get OnlyFans, and they check your Revolut and all the shit you'd be hearing before you get a mortgage. And also, like, I'm just shit at gambling. You know what I mean? I'm just shit at it. And I've gambled like once. I've bet on One time I bet on a horse in the Grand National and they didn't win. So I'm like, fuck that. I'm obviously not good at it. Like, my stubbornness for not winning at things that I've only tried once knows no bounds, right? It can even, the spite that I have for not winning, for losing, seems to, in the most, for the most part, trump, any kind of addiction that could possibly be bubbling under the surface. So anyway, I downloaded this casino app, and that said real money on it, right? And normally, with these kind of things, there's some kind of promotion. You sign up, you get 50 quid first bet or whatever. Didn't have any promotion. Fine. Put a tenner in. And for about 2 hours, right? All this happened within the span of 2 hours, right? Because I put Indy down to sleep, put Sunny down, put Indy down while she was nodding off. Normally it takes about 5 minutes. She'd be nodding off. I'll take out my phone after she's down. And then after 5 minutes, I can hear that kind of deep breathing happening. And then I'm like, all right, fine, I'm in the clear, I can leave. So I'm, within that 5 minutes, download this app, put a tenner in, start gambling away. With the tenner, right, got up to about 50 quid. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. And then lost that by kind of gambling, by betting too much. And I'm like, all right, I figured this out now. And then I got down to like 3 quid. Then it offered me a fiver. I'm like, oh, wow, class. So then I got up again to like about €100. And I'm like, whoa, €100. Is there something up with this? Like, I'm having a fucking string of luck here, and I'm just doing what the Native American said. I'm just, if they're low, and kind of less than like a 6 on the first card, I'm just holding at 16. Not doubling down on 11, like, no matter what swingers will tell you, right? And I'm playing very conservative. Then from €100, I don't know how it happens. I can visualize the slog of getting up to 100 and how long it took me and exactly what I did. Couldn't tell you how I lost it. Down 2 quid. I'm like, what the fuck? How did this even happen? That could have been, shopping for the family for the week. So then it offers me another 5 quid bet. And I'm like, all right, here we go. Before I know it, I've got €500. €500. And this is why I'm visualizing it. It is like halfway to an iPad, because I want to get an iPad, right? And I want to get it in a way where I don't have to pay for it somehow. No, it's not possible. But I have it in my manifestation of my mind, somehow getting an iPad down the line with a little keyboard. Because I used to have an iPad, and to be honest, still the best browsing experience I've ever had. I don't like looking at my phone when I'm doing something. I'd like to be doing the Ryanair flights on an iPad, right? Whatever. I'm a piece of shit. I'm a capitalist scum. I want an iPad, right? Something like that's halfway to an iPad. I don't know how this happens. I don't know how it fucking happens. From €500. And I made all these rules with myself. I said I would only bet $50 on one hand if I was into the next 100. Do you know what I mean? So I would get to 400, and if I got to 450, I'd risk that 50 to get up to 500, and that worked so many times. And then all of a sudden I'm on 500, and I'm like, only when I get to 550, I'll do €50 bet on one hand once to potentially make 100. And every other bet I'm going to be like 5 quid, 10 quid. I don't know how this happened. I lost it all. And then I put another, and then it wasn't giving me another €5, and I put another fucking €10 in. And then lost that within like 3 minutes. And then I put another €25 in, right? And then I was even online on YouTube looking at like those little, little cheat sheets being, this is what you do. Split it if you get double eights. Hit it on this. If they have this, you have this. Whatever. Double down. All this shit. I'm learning shit. And then I'm doing well. That 25 turns to 50. And I'm following the rules verbatim, what this guy told me to do on YouTube, and I'm getting there. And then all of a sudden, that's gone. And then I put another tenner in, and that lasted even. I ended up spending fucking, what was that? €55. I lost €500. And then I just, of course, immediately deleted the app, and I will never play blackjack ever again. But it was a nice, welcome snapshot into a fucking base gambling addiction that happened within the span of 2 hours. And it was so exciting. I lost a lot. But it was, This is obviously not what, your partner wants to hear when they come home after a lovely night out. I lost €500 on blackjack. Like, what? No, but I put in like a tenner, at first. From a tenner, 490 profit. Wild. And I thought it was all me. I thought, I guess this is what I'm just amazing at. And if I can just get it back, I know I have it in me. Just the cards aren't on my side right now. So that was a delightful little snapshot there of, I'm not doing it again. I'm not trying that again. I don't need that shit. Fucking wild. Wild. Literally I feel like I lived 20 lifetimes in the span of 2 hours. Lost €500. Anyway. And I couldn't tell you how. It's so insane I wish I could apply the gambler's brain to like my life story. Do you know what I mean? You never get anyone talking about their life in all the great moments that happened and completely overlooking the absolute dog shit that is most of their days. That's what gamblers do. They talk about these bets, they talk about these accumulators, but they never talk about, I don't know, a time that they were called up to action by an employer and exceeded expectations. People don't bring that shit up. But they'll tell you about an accumulator. They'll tell you some fucking Bundesliga fucking score that they pulled out of their hoop. Cruise to score 9th in a match, whatever shit. But they'll never tell you about, I don't know, the first time they held their son. I don't know what they do. I don't know what people do. I don't have a lot of mates who gamble. Well, not any mates who are any good at gambling. But imagine you could just use that perspective. You just overlooked never talked about how much shit you ate. Like, whether at a cards table, or in life, and only focused on. How is that possible? It's just mad. It's mad what dopamine will do to lie to you, to get you to believe the only thing that ever existed was more dopamine. Anyway, I'm going to get into crypto now. More of a fucking sure thing, for sure. So, I'm getting into this Pepe the Frog kind of coin thing. It's linked. It's kind of it's linked to the right wing or whatever. But when have they ever been wrong? So I'm kind of hitching my wagon to that. This Pepe Frog coin. I know. What else? It was over my Maz there. And get this right. You know the way I'm always fucking moaning to like phone and broadband and TV providers, right? It's my bread and butter. If you are an OAP and you are overpaying, right? Were you in an accident that wasn't your fault, right? Allow me to offer my services to you. If you're an OAP and maybe your kids don't have the patience for you to not know what your account number is, and to not know what your email address is, and to not even know who the provider of the internet is, and to not even know what that bundle entails, right? Allow me to try and claw back some of the money that these scam artists, these true scam artists, have been skimming off the top, right? I was in my Maz there. Anyway, I was looking at the TV, and I was like, man, how old is this TV? She's got, 15 years. And I'm like, I know, because I remember you told me you spent a couple of grand on this TV. I get it, right? But it's not a good TV. My stepdad was like, what's wrong with this TV? And I'm like, for one, right, it's not HD, okay? It isn't HD. It isn't 1080p, And he looked at me like I was a hydra in the amount of fucking heads I had, right? Not only is it not 1080p, says Derek, this is also, we've moved on from HD. Now we're in Ultra HD, 4K, which this TV is also not. And for 1/10 of the price that you paid for this TV, you can have a TV that is bigger and at this point now 8 times the definition of this TV. He's like, whatever. And I was like, what provider are you using? Like, who does your TV? And they're like, we don't know. Okay. Who does your internet? We don't know. I'll walk over to the router. It says, I won't say who it is, right? I figured it out by looking at the router. I'm like, okay, how much you paying for that? They're like, no idea. And then they looked into their direct debits, right? €120. €120 they were paying. I'm like, what was that for? And I was like, I think it's just for the internet. Like, just for the internet. And then I checked the speeds, and they were getting like 100 megabytes. 100, like, and then apparently it was like 500 megabytes. Anyway, they're only getting 100 megabytes, and you can't get it anywhere else other than right beside the router. And I'm like, how long you've had this? A couple of years. I'm like, all right, I need to fucking figure this out now, right? So I was like, all right, where's your login details? Like, no idea. Fine, right? So I called them on the phone, and I'm like, hey, we don't have our login details. We don't even know what account it's under. What information do you need? And they were like, everything. And I was like, all right, this is my ma's name, this is my stepdad's name, this is where we live, blah, blah, blah. Eventually they find it, right? It had been linked. They hadn't gotten a single bill for the last couple of years because it was still linked to my ma's Aircom account, right? My ma's Aircom fucking account, which, is there not some level of, courtesy that bounced back emails, or even just someone to fucking spot, Aircom, they're probably not getting these bills, right? And I'm like, have they dropped the price? No. Have they been in contact to let you know that you can get a better deal? No. All right. I'm fucking frothing here. Frothing at the mouth. Because normally I'm a fucking bullshitter. Normally I'm an asshole complaining, saying I'm going to cancel because of impeccable service. So I actually had some fucking grounds here, right? Anyway, we're chatting to the guy, and eventually get to the bottom of it. They're paying €120 for, turns out to be 500 megabytes of internet. And I said, and what would be the standard rate now? Regardless of the fact that my parents are OAPs, which you're not, right? My ma's not anyway. Given the fact that my parents here are old age pensioners, I said, right, what would be the standard price you'd be giving everyone else? And they were like 45 quid. Like 45 quid. And why are you charging them now 120 quid? And they're like, well, it auto renews, and it was up to them to get back in touch. And I'm like, their fucking Aircom account, right? How are they? They're not even getting these bills, right? And as soon as I was on the phone, all these texts are coming through to me stepdad saying about, here's the deal. Oh, here, almost like it was unclogged or they're fucking scrambling. So I said, look, we're going to cancel right now. We're going to cancel. Put me through to the cancellation team. And then they were offering €35 for double the speed of the internet. My stepdad was almost crying. He was like, I can't believe you've done this. What wizardry is this? We had but 2 loaves and some fishes here before you came, son. Okay? And now we have a feast. This water, taste it. I know what you're going to say. No, taste it. It's wine. It is wine now. So they couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe that this had happened. And I was just thinking, I wept like the Native American, not at the blackjack table, but in those ants, when I drove out of my ma's gaff, just thinking about how many other poor old sods there were on that road paying 120 quid for dog shit internet because they didn't get on the phone to say that they were going to fucking cancel because they didn't have a bastard of a son. So then eventually, right, I go home and get them on the phone, and they have this kind of like a nuke that people on the phone use, which is, am I speaking to the account holder, right? They know exactly what they're doing. Bro, am I speaking to the account holder? Do you really want to go through that? Do you really want to go through that, bro? Do you really want to have them fucking trying to find their defunct Aircom account? Do you really want to have them try 5 passwords with you over the phone, none of which are the same? You know they make up new email addresses for every new account that they have. And there's no, you know what I mean? This is what they do. This is what these people do, all right? Over 60s, this is what they do. With the greatest respect, ma'am, I know you're listening, right? This is what you do. You make up new email addresses, new passwords for everything, right? There's no cohesion to it. Everyone still they really think that this internet thing is a fad and it's going to just fade away. I'm like, may as well try a new password here. How long is this internet thing going to last for? The rest of the time, right? There's no cohesion to it. So I got on the phone while I was at home. My mom wasn't around to try and negotiate this deal, right? So this is when I found out that I would get it for 35 quid. So I called them and give all the account information. Now that we'd found the account and it had been rerouted to our new email address, right? We'd figure that out. So I got all the account information. They asked the address, gave it to them, date of birth, gave it to them, account holder, gave them the name, my man's name, Carla, right? And then your man said, am I speaking to the account holder? And I was like, yeah. And it was like, oh, haha. And I was just quiet. And he goes, just this is the account holder. I'm like, yeah, it is, yeah. No, just we have a, I thought that would be kind of a female name. And I was like, yeah, so. And he's like, okay, fine, which he should have dropped earlier, to be fair. Do you know what I mean? Not to be, just think, well, imagine it was fucking some, imagine it was, my ma's got a fairly manly voice anyway. Do you know what I mean? She kind of sounds a bit like me anyway. But, she's often confused for being a man over the phone. So I thought it'd be no issue. But what if it wasn't? Do you know what I mean? You could be making someone who's very vulnerable right now feel even... I mean, I'm not. I'm taking the fucking piss here, but still. So I got annoyed about that. And they were like... And then they were like, oh, so, what's the deal? And I was like, well, you've been charging 120 quid a month for the last couple of years here. And my son was just here telling me that the standard rate's about €45. And you've been taking that money out of my partner's account, right? We're old age pensioners here, And I was just I wasn't even thinking. I was so angry. I wasn't even thinking that sounds insane, me saying that. Not that I couldn't pass for, an old woman. I could. I obviously did. But, see, this is the thing. If I know it doesn't seem right, but this is why I'm the Joker when I get on the phone, because I'm such a piece of shit. Because, right, Batman, you got to play by their rules. I don't have any rules. I'm a woman. I'm an old woman. I don't have any rules. I know what rules they have to follow. I don't have any fucking rules. I can be courteous, and I was, and apologetic, and I was, and respectful, and I certainly was. But I also don't have to play by the rules. I'm an old woman now, So anyway, I was able to negotiate it down. I was like, look, you've been taking this money off the top. I think the most fair deal here is free internet for the next couple of years. And they were like, all right. Like, no way. And I'm like, fair. Maybe it went too big there. And they were like, we can give you 35 quid. So I was like, all right, that's pretty good. Double speed internet. Said it to me, ma. She's like, I kind of want to go with this guy. Fine. Fine. Still. But just, I know I'm always fucking hammering back this, right? I was always talking about this in theory, that I kind of harness the energy of an OAP who doesn't know how much they're paying, because I know that they exist, and now I got to see them in real life. These are my my mom, my stepdad here, overcharged by triple for worse internet. You have an obligation, my friend, as a provider, to get on the fucking phone as fast as you can to tell these people they can get something better. Like, what about loyalty? What about customer loyalty? So anyway, I had a great weekend. And my voice is hoarse from gigs and complaining to Vodafone, actually, was the name of that brand. But look, thanks very much for listening to this podcast. It is 1:00 in the morning. I am going to edit this, publish it, and hopefully record another podcast later in the week that isn't moments before it's supposed to go out. But I hope you had a wonderful bank holiday, or a wank holiday, if you're so inclined to pull your cheeks apart. And it's a fucking reference from a previous podcast. Anyway, I'm not talking about butts. Anyway, have a great time. I love you dearly. All the best. Bye-bye.
This show is part of the Head Stuff Podcast Network, a hub for the creative and the curious. Shows are produced in association with Head Stuff and the Podcast Studios Dublin. Find out more or become a member at headstuffpodcasts.com.